What's up, guys? See, and that's why the long opener is more important. Let me see if I can create some better lighting in here. That's why the long openers are more important. When I decide to go early, I'm sitting here 3 minutes early, and I'm just like, what do I need to wait for? Nobody needs to wait for this crap. Let's just jump in and get going and figure this crap out as we go. Let's have some fun with this. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get up here the ticker of the Bear Down members. Do appreciate you guys who are part of the channel, who have subscribed. Guys, I would freaking love to do this full time. In fact, we're going to compress a bunch of information in here today that probably should be 3 or 4 different videos. I just don't have the time. And I'm trying to balance things a little bit better. We're, not that anybody is counting. No one's counting here. But we're exactly 2 weeks, 1 day, actually 2 exact days from an hour from right now. So 2 weeks, 2 days and 1 hour. So man, we're right there to the draft, and got to balance things a little bit better. I literally stay up at night doing this crap till like 3 a.m. and creating videos and stuff. So trying to balance that, trying to bring what you guys want to see and hear. And this last weekend I had to take some family time. So we'll get to a bunch of stuff today, but it's going to be compressed. There probably should be 3 or 4 videos made out of what we're going to go over today, but it is what it is. We're going to get it in here. We're going to compress it. We're going to have some fun. And if you guys have some fun, some time, enjoy the fun with us, and we'll get bearing down. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Jay Brinko, bear down. Jay Capone to Don, bear down. Yeah, Jonas Savania would be a really fun draft pick. If you guys remember on my last one where I put like my ideal prospects, he was on that last page where I would like him to be considered to be a Bear. So Hitman, I appreciate that. I don't know if I am a voice of reason, but I try to give you guys my take and as unfiltered as possible. With that, if you guys didn't see, those who do follow me on Twitter, called someone stupid again. Man, I called someone stupid again. It was stupid. They called Romo Dunze a bust, and they said he'd be out of the league. So I called him stupid. From there, I had a couple people reach out to me and say, Adam, you really need to separate your personal Twitter handle from your channel's Twitter handle. I've had the channel one created for half a year, and I just have not used it enough. So I put a post on there today. Going to be very professional with the Bear Down Sports one, but I'm still going to call people stupid and call them idiots and give my unfiltered takes with my own personal one. So if you want to follow me, know you're going to get unfiltered, Adam. If you want to follow my channel on Twitter, you're going to get a very professional look, which I started again today. Put a couple posts on there. We'll go over some of those with you guys, but for shizzle, I don't know if that's showing up on there. It shows Bear Down logo or it shows the actual thing when I put it up there. It'll be interesting to see later when I go back and look. Erica Langevin, Jonathan, Longhorn Jeff, Victor Perez, JC1, Kenneth Jensen, Relentless Mikey, Bear Down, my guy. Bear Down, buddy. Appreciate you tuning in. Creighton Wilfong. All right, we got to get to the breaking news before we get any farther. Breaking news. Big Dex was seen at Lambeau surrounded by blood-covered Jordan Love. Jersey's screaming Dex must have more snacks. Jordan Love's jersey screaming Dex must have more snacks. All right. Unfiltered Adam is just fine. Yeah, I'm here. I'll give my takes. You guys follow me on Twitter if you want the unfiltered. Follow my channel if you just want Bears news, because I'm going to give you guys everything on there. In fact, a lot of people probably know my political stance if they're on there too. You don't have to be in my political stance to be a Bears fan, but I'm going to give you my takes on Twitter. That's what Twitter's for. So that's why it's calling a passion project. You guys are pretty good. Man, I am having allergies today. I apologize. We're going to rip right into some good stuff here, but I am dying here for a second. And I just got off my normal 9 to 5. I am looking to self-advertise the channel. I'm looking to expand my insurance agency to Illinois, just so you guys know. I won't do that till I'm ready for it. So Jonas said that. I didn't see where he said that, but I kind of assumed everyone thought he was going to transition to Jard. He has long arms. I like these prospects here like this, and I brought up Ariante Ursary a lot too from Minnesota. These prospects that have decent sized arms, 34-inch arms. Both of them have 34-inch arms. They can play both tackle and guard. That way you can have someone that can fill in for Braxton if something happens. If Karan Amagachi is not up to speed, someone that can kick over. We kind of always assume that a rookie that's drafted high would be that kind of prospect, but they don't always transition super easily. So Atlas, welcome in, buddy. Bear Down. So we got a lot to get to. One thing today, I don't know who follows Harrison Graham or not. I'm trying to actually get along with other creators because I think that's important in our space and Bears community. We have enough Lions fans and Packers fans that are just absolutely ridiculous idiots. And Harrison has cut down on the things I don't like as much. I called him out on Twitter a couple times because he's a beer chugging grifter. And I've learned him becoming a father has changed some things with him. I don't watch his channel all the time. I don't know if he does the beer chugging anymore or not, but he sounds a lot more matured. Excuse me. I had a good conversation with him on Twitter. I'm trying to get along with him a lot more, but I don't know who saw his channel today. I saw he created a video that had this exact same thing on it. Look at this, 19 hours ago. And then he created a thumbnail with the exact same thing and the exact same purpose. So this is me on Twitter. And I pointed out, and I did see Ben Devine caught the same thing. So the two of us caught the same thing and put it out almost identical at the same time. Dennis Allen, this is from 1920 Football Drive. If everybody didn't see that, go watch it. It's really good. But I'm sitting here watching. I always try to dissect things. I watch things 2 or 3 times. And Dennis Allen's there. He's talking to Ryan Poles, and he says, "Where do we have him?" And I went back and I watched the tape of the combine. And when Mason Graham's being interviewed, they're done with drills. Nobody else is getting drilled at that time. So it's he's on the tape. He's on the screen. They're interviewing Mason Graham, and Dennis Allen's asking, "Where do we have him?" And that circle that I did was a reflection in the mirror of the TV. Those it's the same as like your press boxes when you're or your box suite if you're at a Cubs game or a Bears game. And on that TV reflection, you can see in there Mason Graham. So I'm not saying Harrison Graham stole this from me, but I don't know too many others that caught this other than me and Ben Devine. So I'm gonna say he stole it from me. That's fine. He can get his money off of it. He can get his population. Just know there's a source for where this came from. So, anyways, Dennis Allen, where do we have him? Ryan Poles high in this year, probably 1 or 2. So then my comment below it. Enough with these guys saying defense isn't a priority in the first round. And if they've got Mason Graham at 1 or 2, I promise you they watched the same tape on Kenneth Grant, and he's high too. You don't hear the Bears are keeping so tight-lipped this year. I'm surprised they let this slip in 1920 Football Drive. That was such a good episode, guys. Oh my gosh. Those who watched the episode, how many times did you watch it? I seriously, I'm gonna pretend like I didn't watch it as much. I'll say I watched it 3 times. Okay. I only watched it 3 times. That's what I'm gonna say. I only watched it 3 times. If they made a paid subscription for 1920 Football Drive, I would pay for it. I would pay for it over HBO, over Netflix, over Hulu. I would pay for 1920 Football Drive. I would pay for that. I eat that crap up. It's so freaking good. That's pretty good, Creighton Wilfong. The Bears need more Samoans. I like that. So with that topic of conversation, I do plan on making a video on this, Bears prospects, potential. You see everyone talking about Ashton Genty. Whatever. We're kind of done talking about that on this channel, on Twitter. People have finally stopped talking about it. It's unrealistic. We're not going to get Ashton Genty. I got to be careful what I say. I do have a source. Those on this channel get a little something that I shouldn't be saying. I do have a source when it comes to the running back room in Hallis Hall. I do. Everyone can say that. I'm going to tell you the one thing they did say, because I don't think this is leaking anything. They do not know who they're picking at running back. They have no clue. They're still narrowing it down. With that, I will say they're planning on 4 top 30 visits and 1 local visit. The local visit we got from today. Today was the local pro day for the Chicago Bears. Now, I took it to mean the running back from Northern Illinois. I was wrong. It was actually the fullback from Northern Illinois. So that was kind of interesting to see how it turned out today. But the local visit ended up being the fullback, not the running back. I kind of assumed from that, I ran with it that it was the running back, but it was their fullback. And their running back's actually a really good prospect. So I'm kind of interested to see if the Bears do bring him in still. But on the local day, these are prospects that typically, in fact, let's go to that page real quick. Let me go here. All right, so there's that. We'll get into these guys in just a minute. We'll get back to this. So here is from today. Over 40 NFL prospects attended the Bears local day in Lake Forest. So This is the local day. These are typically prospects that aren't going to get their own one-on-one top 30 visit. These guys they're bringing in, these are potential UDFAs. These are players that are just trying to make it any way they can scrape into the league. You know, a late round draft pick, undrafted free agent, any way they can get it, they're going to try to get it. So the Bears hosted 40 of them today. We do know who some of them are, and there's actually some really interesting prospects. The only quarterback I saw was Ryan Helinski, who was from Northwestern. You can see right here. I don't have my pointer. Dang it, guys. I hate using StreamYard sometimes because the pointer stinks. But right after that, to the right there, you see that list of players. Defensive tackle Damon Taylor, defensive tackle Cade Haberman, fullback Brock Lampy. That's who I'm talking about. That was the fullback for them. Offensive lineman Logan Zenitsk. Offensive lineman J.J. Lippy, safety Nate Vicarsi. I don't have all his names down. I'm barely even knowing these guys. Oh, Ontario Brown was there. See? That's the one I assumed it was. Ontario Brown was the one I was assumed was the local visit guy, and he's the running back for Northern Illinois. Cornerback Javon Byard, defensive tackle Devontae O'Malley, defensive back Jay Sean Prophet, and linebacker Jaden Dolphin. Those are just from Northern Illinois. So you see the little blue arrow going down. That's a picture of the Northern Illinois boys that were there at the pro day. To the left, you can see Marshall Horner, who is a really solid offensive line prospect, like 6'6", 34-inch arms, like 330 pounds. And then Anthony Sambuki, who's a Western Michigan wide receiver. What was the tight end's name? Thomas something. I can't see it right. I know that's really small, guys, but the tight end from Northwestern's really intriguing to me as well. So I really like some of the players they brought into this. Ontario Brown is one that I'm actually a little hopped up on here for this one. It's interesting to me that he was there for the local pro day. But that doesn't mean other locals won't come. Like Kenneth Grant wouldn't come to an event like this. Kenneth Grant is a local. He qualifies to be a free top 30 visit. I would assume Kenneth Grant will be coming to the Bears. The Bears are, I'm not saying in the draft. I want him to come to the Bears in the draft, but for a top 30 visit. I want him, but the Bears are keeping low key, very low key who they're bringing in. Local day, there's press coverage there. You're going to hear about all these. So this happened today. This is the local pro visit day. No huge names. No one that's expected to be a draft prospect. But the tight end from Northwestern is actually a fringe guy. Ontario Brown is actually a decent prospect to me. So there's some good ones here. We can try to dissect this a little bit more later. But that was today. And then let's get back to the other news. A bunch of people filing in. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Tony Moyes here. Muck the General's here. Bears fan for life. NDM10 is here. Who was that supposed to be up on the TV that that everyone was up in arms about? That it was Mason Graham. So just to get back to that. So those who missed it, this is Mason Graham. I circled there. I posted this on Twitter. And Harrison Graham went and made a whole video about it and had thousands of views, and he's going to get all this credit for it. Freaking stealer of information, stealer of stuff. No, that's what we do, though. We share all the information we get. But I thought that was pretty cool when I was watching it, that I saw that on there. I went back and watched the actual combine part of it. So that was pretty fun. So other big news today. Let's get back to the actual news. So here are three, and Addison West is a part of it too. We'll get the whole thing, but according to Ryan Fowler today, top left one here, right there, Arizona offensive lineman Jonah Savania has pre-draft visits scheduled with both the Cincinnati Bengals and Chicago Bears. And no, I'm not even going to comment on this whole Cincinnati Bengals thing, wanting to move to Chicago. They need us. We don't need them. Let's just do our own stadium. Let's freaking have it be the Bears. And it is what it is. So Jonah Savania, very good prospect to me. I love the prospect of him. If you guys remember, before I put my wish list, this was like 2 weeks ago, I did this video, my wish list. You see right there, 62 is kind of his consensus. He's actually a little higher than that now. But 62, Jonah Savania, I see him as an interior offensive lineman personally. But I like these guys like Ariante Ursary, Jonah Savania, those guys that could shift between tackle and guard if needed. You know, they're not going to start either way this year. Nobody is. Even if we draft Josh Simmons or Will Campbell, that's a That one's a tough one. I don't know if he would start this year or not. We'd have to see how camp went, but anybody drafted, the offensive line is pretty much set this year, and they've said as much. They like the starting five there. But if we have someone that could back up Joe Tooney and back up Braxton Jones, and no, I'm not out on Karan Amagaji, but that more competitive, good players that we can have. So Ariante Ursary, Jonas Savania, you can see those are the two that I really have there in the top 60. And then after that, I have Tate Ratledge, Wyatt Milam. Same type of thing with Wyatt Milam. I think he could go between tackle and guard. So I like the prospect of him too. But the Bears are bringing in Jonas Savania for a top 30 visit. Now on the right, you see the Bears signed defensive back Nashawn Wright to a 1-year contract. So that's just bolstering. And I'll go over the entire roster here in a minute, guys. But that's bolstering the roster, getting up to our 90-man roster. I'll go over exactly who we have right now. So more of you guys tuning in. Appreciate you. Real Flash is here. Brian Williams is here. Ursray could start as well. I agree. Levante Rogers is here. Yeah, I did see that. Levante Shadur Sanders is taking a top 30 visit with the Steelers. The Steelers have a good feeling the Sanders is gonna fall far enough that a local insider for the Steelers said they feel like he'll fall far enough that the Steelers feel confident they could trade up to get Shadur Sanders. That's interesting. Where would they trade up to? Maybe they don't want to wait till 11, 12, 13. I don't know, because Miami could take a quarterback if one fell into their lap. So you would think the Steelers would need to jump ahead of one of these teams that might say, well, we didn't expect Shadur Sanders to fall this far. Might as well take our backup like Michael Penix last year with the Falcons at 9-10. Well, we really like him. We don't have to start him day one. Most important position in the league. You know, we got Tua Tagovailoa at 13. Maybe we want to get ahead of them. Maybe we want to get maybe the whole Brock Purdy situation. We want to get ahead of Brock Purdy. I'm just saying what some of these teams could be thinking. And if that's true, that's exciting for the Bears to trade down. Getting a future first rounder in this next year's draft would be huge. We could then take what I'm suggesting. If you guys haven't seen this, let me hurry and pull up here. I got too many thoughts to share with you guys. Go away, Adobe Acrobat. No, leave that one. I don't know if you guys have seen my kick about Cam Skattebo lately. I'm going to do a whole video on Cam Skattebo, guys. The things that I'm seeing from Skattebo is I watched extensive tape over him over the weekend. So here was the question I posed out. Here's Skattebo. Everyone freaks out about the 40. Yeah, the 40 is the most important thing, right? Once you get to the NFL, you're not having those breakaway yards like you did. Your ability to create the breakaway is the most important thing. And then that burst and his composite speed for burst, his vert was huge. And his 10-yard split's not bad. So here's Skattebo. Look at this one more time. And then look at this player right here. Almost identical. Well, who's this player? I put the big question mark. Who is that? People responding. Who was it? And I ended up showing a bunch of stuff about Skattebo. People guessed Montgomery. Montgomery's a really good guess because Montgomery's times are actually very similar, like 4.65, and his split's almost identical to the same. So that was a good guess, and it's Jacobs. The comp to Cam Skattebo. Does that change anybody's mind about Cam Skattebo? It should, because Josh Jacobs is a freaking stud, and he would be perfect for. Man, that's what you're talking about with Thunder and Lightning. That's what you're talking about with Sonic and Knuckles. So if we could trade Pittsburgh and get that extra pick, that first rounder next year, I am all in on Jeremiah Love next year from Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love, the running back, he's better than Ashton Genty. Sorry, if anybody doesn't understand Jeremiah Love yet, just give him his senior year. His junior year, he'll come into the league after 3 years. Yeah. Jacobs does play with the trash Packers. I get it. And Monty plays with the Lions. So these guys are like, man, our enemies. But at the same time, they're both really solid players at their role. And we don't need a zone running back this year. We need a in-gap guy that can break away and have multi-role weapon tool. And that's what Cam Skattebo is. So I am going to do a whole video on him. I already know I did my draft prospect profile that I've been doing on these guys, but I'm telling you, there's so much to share on Cam Skattebo, guys. He was, if he ran a 4.4 or a 4.5, everybody would have him as a first-round draft pick. I promise you that. Like, he was right up there with Ashton Genty on every metric, broken tackles, everything. He had more broken tackles in the Power 4 conference than anybody else in college football this year. He's going to be a special player. I know some of you guys aren't, and I think if I make this video, you're gonna look at Skattebo a little bit different. You're gonna look a little bit different. Man, see, some of you guys are saying, and what's your basis for this? I'm curious. I'm curious what your basis is for saying he's overrated. Because what you want in a guy going to the NFL, you're not going to have your Mack truck-sized holes open up for you. You're going to have to pound through holes, and you're going to have to break off guys, and you're going to have to be that freaking monster dog. And that's what Skattebo is. Like, I truly believe he's running back 1, 2, or 3 in this draft. And nobody should be shocked if he's taken in the early second round. Now, I'm probably going to lose some people. What are you talking about, Adam? I'm done with you. I'm done. I am Skattebo's agent, just so you guys know. I am Skattebo. Skattebo? Skit, scat, skiddly doo, skit, scat, scoodle doo, scoop, boop, boop, skattle doo. I would rather draft Kenneth Grant too. That's my first round pick. I want Kenneth Grant. Then I want Princely Umanmiel, and it's gone back and forth between Princely and Landon Jackson. I like Princely more the more tape I watch. So I want Kenneth Grant. Then I want Princely Umanmiel. Then I want Cam Skattebo. Then I want Mason Taylor. I got my wish list. See, somebody understands. Somebody gets it. All right, let's get back to the news. So we did sign Nahshon Wright. I'll go to him in just a minute. Let's remove this one. I don't have anything shared as far as a file and everything I was ready to do for that. So let's just pull him up here. Drafted by the Cowboys in the 3rd round comp pick range. 3rd round. Some places say 99. PFF says 100. It doesn't really matter. It's right in the same range. 26 years old. 6'4", 185 pounds. So a tall, slender guy. And you see, he was with Dallas for those 3 years. Then he went to Minnesota this last year. And this is just special teams because that's all he did this last year. So special teams player, but not a lot of time here this last year. But if we go back to defense and we look at him as a defensive player, you can see his tackling that last year was pretty rough. His coverage grade, not bad. Not good, but not bad. Missed tackles there. 2 missed tackles out of 2 opportunities. Receiving percentage against him, not terrible. That one's actually terrible. This is not terrible. That last year with Dallas, that's probably why they let him go. Basically, if you threw in his direction, it was going to be caught. But these NFL pass ratings against those two, he had an interception, a pass breakup his 2nd year in the league, and NFL pass rating against those are good. That's not good. So he's a project. I don't see him any more than a 90-man roster player. That's what I view him as. So he's going to be a 90-man roster dude for us. And then the other news, and this one is speculative because I don't know if he was there for the the local pro day or if he was there as an individual. So visits today, the local pro day is what took place today. You see at the bottom of this list, Notre Dame, and that's above. He played for Clemson first, so right above this from Ian Rappaport. Wide receiver Bo Collins visited the Bears today. So I've gone ahead and put him on, my. So let's go here. So here's the updated schedule, top 30 visits. And you can see I added him to the list, but I don't know if he was a local visit or if he was actually a top 30 visit. I think today was mostly focused around the 30 visit. We also know, and I'll go to Twitter real quick and show you guys from the Bears. They posted some videos of the guys working out. It's pretty funny because Caleb, I don't know if you guys saw the interviews. I'm not going to go over a lot of the interview stuff from today. You guys can go check those interview outs. But I really liked Jalen Johnson, his response, them talking about the hype. And he basically said, we got to go prove it. Like, I've been through this long enough. We're the offseason champion year after year. We got to go out and win games. So until we win games, I'm not going to get excited. I want to have us win ball games before I buy into the hype. And he's not saying he's not committed. He's just saying, I'm done with the talk. Let's get to action. So I like that. So here's the top 30 visits. Now, I'm going to give 2 things here, 2 caveats. Number 1, the tight ends, there's conflicting reports. Both tight ends could have been out of Hallis Hall, so they're not technically top 30 visits. You can do scheduled visits at other locations as well and do individual workouts. But the Bears have had individual workouts with Mason Taylor and Tyler Warren. That is done. Those are both done. I don't know if they were top 30 visits or not. There's conflicting reports. So I've got them scheduled here, but that doesn't mean they were necessarily top 30 visits. The other one is Bo Collins. I don't know if he was there as the local pro day or not. Ian Rappaport had him as a local, as a visit today. That's all he called it, was a visit. So I've got him listed here. It doesn't matter either way because it doesn't count against the top 30. All the other ones: Josh Connerly, Ashton Genty, Will Campbell, Nick Martin, Jonas Savania, Brashard Smith, Dylan Fairchild, Isaiah Bond, and Dante Fleming are all top 30 visits for the Bears, all within different range. See that number above their heads is where they all kind of land. UDFAs, I would expect to be those round 7 guys that we're looking to take a final pick on. And we saw from the video, 1920 football drive, when Ryan Poles was talking, he was talking to the other scouts and Ian Cunningham. He said, you kind of have to throw out the window what you hear about these guys. You have to take it and throw it out, basically where they're on the boards, what people are saying. And I am going to go as far as to say he is specifically talking about Ashton Genty. All right, he could be talking about a lot of other things too, but you don't get bought into the hype just because other people are hyping on a player. There's so many orange flags, and I've had so much to say. You guys have seen me say it. I've got my own unique take. I'm not here for the hype or to, what do they call it, the grift. I'm not here to get the clicks by saying, "Oh, guys, look how amazing Ashton Genty is. We should take him. We should do whatever it takes to trade up to number 2 and take Ashton Genty because he's going to be Walter Payton." I don't believe it, so I'm not going to preach it. I'm not going to preach that. It's not popular to say Cam Skattebo is going to be one of the best running backs in this class, but I watch a freaking ton of tape. I watch these players, get excited over them, and I'm really excited about having Knuckles with Ashton Genty. Now, my 3 favorites after watching, and I see the Bears taking this direction because we have DeAndre Swift as our zone running back, as our outside zone guy who can catch. You want both of them to be able to catch, but as our outside zone guy, you've got DeAndre Swift this year. I'd love to replace him next year with Jeremiah Love. Oh my gosh. The prospect of Jeremiah Love, give it to me. I love it. The ones that I like the most that fit more of the knuckles, more of the punch, but that can be multi-role as well and can do multiple things and do well, I think would pair up with DeAndre Swift would be Cam Skattebo, Caleb Johnson, and Quinshaw Judkins. Those are my 3. Those are the 3. One of those 3 would be my favorite to be a Chicago Bear. And I shouldn't have information. I don't want to have information because I can't hold information. But I can tell you the Bears are looking for a specific type of running back. A specific type of running back. That's all I'm going to say on that. So, all right. Coming back to this, I want to run through the roster so you guys can see it real quick. And from the combine, here's the combine visits. Look at the bottom left side there. Boom, boom. Those are the running backs we met with at the combine. Okay, Omarion Hampton, Ashton Genty, Cam Skattebo, Quinshaw Judkins, and Travion Henderson. So those are the ones we met at the combine. And we know the Bears spent extensive time, both offense and defensive coaches, at Ohio State for their pro day. So if I'm a betting man, I would say it's probably Quinshaw Judkins. It's probably going to be a Bear at this point. If I'm a betting man, that's what my bet would be. So, all right, let me check the chat. Yeah, I like Damian Martinez as well. I don't like him as much as the other 3, but he's right in that same. He's right in that same one, right in that same category. Bear down, Richard Colby. Bear down. Pretend Genty is a quarterback, then you might not be as mad. I'm not mad. But that's how a lot of people are acting. It's like we have to take a game-changing, franchise-changing quarterback, and we have got to take that with Ashton Genty. And that's not the same. It's not the same exact thing. He's going to play half the snaps with DeAndre Swift anyway, so it's not the same. And I can say whatever I want. Dang it. Nick Scourton at 39. If he fell to 39, I just don't see him falling to 39, but you're 100% right, Muck the General. I'd take him over Princely. I'd take him over Landon Jackson. That would be my order. Nick Scourton, Princely Uman-Mielen, and then Landon Jackson. That's who I want for our edge. I want speed and power, so I want Quinshaw Judkins. I don't know how you tell me for certain. I don't know if you're correct on that one. I know they want a certain thing. Judkins can move a pile and hit the edge with power. I agree with that. All right, let's get into the roster. So I want to show you guys where the roster stands right now. 2 weeks before the draft, 2 weeks and 2 days before the draft right now. So there's that. And then let's get in. So here's our needs. You see our needs. I still have Patrick Seals. I need to switch to Scott Daly. My bad. Someone mentioned it before. I need to just update that one. So, man, I got to get rid of the logo. How do I get rid of the logo here? Style. Get rid of the logo. I need to do this before I start, because I don't think you can do it mid-start. Let's see. Yeah, I can't do it mid-start. Upgrade logo. Let's see if I can. No, I can't. I can take it off. Sweet. I just figured it out with you guys here. Yeah, he is that level of prospect. I don't think it's going to result in the NFL. I don't think he's going to match NFL production, what people are saying the type of prospect he is. Yeah, can't get here fast enough. 100% agree. All right, so we're going to run through the roster real quick. Those who are interested to see where this roster stands. So this is the roster. On the right side of your screen, you're going to see up top. I know it's kind of small. 2025 90 man. You can see 2024, just trying to gauge what we took into camp last year. 2024, we had 4 quarterbacks and 6 running backs on our 90-man roster. Okay. We're going to have the 90-man roster set within a couple weeks after the draft. There's a couple lingering spots that we try to find the best player available, or best undrafted free agent, or best free agent left to sign to bring in. We don't have a lot of salary cap left, so I don't see us going after any big names for that. But we could always do something where we extend some of that money out. So it could be interesting what the Bears do. But last year we had 4 quarterbacks, 6 running backs. Right now we have 4 quarterbacks, 4 running backs. I think we're pretty set on the quarterback room. I don't see the Bears picking up another one unless they find someone in undrafted free agency that they want to bring in to compete with Austin Reed for the practice squad. I don't think it's changing from Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, and Case Keenum. I think that's going to be your 3 on the 53-man roster. And I do think all 3 will be on the 53-man roster. What did Richard say? Grant, Scourton, and Judkins would be a monster draft. Yeah, that would make me freak out a lot. So, all right, so I don't see it changing from those 3. I have a lot of people asking me about Tyson Bagent, whether we think we can trade Tyson Bagent now. I don't think that's even on the cards. From what Ben Johnson said, from what Ryan Poles said, I don't think, one, he has any trade value whatsoever. I don't think a team would trade for Tyson Bagent. And I don't think the Bears plan on getting rid of him. He knows the system. He knows Caleb well. They work well together. We're bringing Case Keenum in to work with them. I think Case can help Tyson a little bit more, maybe get his release a little bit quicker, maybe get him a little bit more pinpoint, get him a little more velocity on his ball. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the biggest addition here would be the running back room. I do expect the Bears to draft one. And I think they'll take another one either with one of their 7th-round picks or as an undrafted free agent. That's just a personal opinion of mine. I think we're going to add another 2 to this room before we get into the 90-man camp. All right. 2025 90-man camp for offensive line. Right now, we've got 14 on our offensive line. 16 last year went to camp. I would not be shocked if we bring 17 or 18 and maybe bring less from another position into 90-man camp. Right now, you've got your front 5 set. Braxton Jones, Joe Thuney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright. The Bears are very excited about that. I agree. Right now, we don't have a lot of depth, and we have some big need to help develop players. So draft and develop some of these players. I think it's huge this year that we find a left guard or an offensive tackle, left tackle, or both that could interchange. And either way, you're going to draft a tackle because we don't have one on the right side. We need another tackle. So a lot of people think, well, what about Kurana Magaji? One of these guys that aren't working out at left tackle after camp, say we draft Ariante Ursary, or say we draft Jonas Savania, and we see him as a tackle prospect. Well, after camp, if he's not working out there, or if they just want to start him at guard, because sometimes it's easier to break into the league at guard than at tackle, they can start him behind Joe Thuney, and he can be the primary backup. He could also, rotate in with Jonah Jackson a little bit too. We can see what happens, but we're definitely going to take 2 in the draft, would be my projection right now. I think we'll take at least a guard and a tackle, possibly even a center later, maybe some undrafted guys. I think this is one spot where we could overdo what we did last year. Last year, we brought 16 to camp. I wouldn't be shocked if we brought 17, 18, really try to refiner's fire. What do they call that? Iron sharpening iron. Get these guys to really compete and find the best ones in the group. So this is one area that I really, really like. And man, you've been watching Levante Rogers. I'm all in with you on that one. I like Holland Pierce a lot. I would love Holland Pierce to come in and develop behind Braxton or on the right side. Either way, I like it a lot. All right, moving over to the wide receivers and tight ends. Last year, we brought 10 wide receivers, 6 tight ends to camp. This year, we have 9 wide receivers, 5 tight ends. Logic would say we're going to add one more of each. I wouldn't be shocked if we added a couple more wide receivers, though. I think once you draft a tight end, that tight end room is pretty solid with Cole Kmet, a drafted tight end, and Durham Smythe. Durham Smythe, a solid blocking tight end. Really disciplined, just not a lot of elite characteristics. Not a great route runner, not, good at everything, not great at anything is a good way to explain Durham Smythe. So I wouldn't be shocked if we brought in a couple more wide receivers, but I really only expect one more tight end, and that's probably from the draft. Bringing in Joel Wilson, Jordan Murray, adding them to Steven Carlson, who was on the practice squad last year and in 90-man camp last year. So that I would expect that out of these guys next year. All right. To the defensive line, last year we brought 15 into camp, and I think we need some major overhaul here and we've already started. Grady Jarrett, Dio Odengbo, that's already starting the overhaul. Re-signing Chris Williams, which I think he's totally plausible to be cut, save that $3+ million if we find better options. But this is another reason to look at that with what they're talking about with Mason Graham, where I circled it. Bring it back up real quick. Talking about right here, Dennis Allen, where do we have him? Talking about Mason Graham. Ryan Poles high, and this year probably 1 or 2. And that's talking about on the Bears board. They're not talking about the entire draft. They're talking about on the Bears board. All things being open, does that mean they're willing to trade up for him? I don't know. Where do we have him? They're talking about him. They might be willing to trade up for him, or maybe they're hoping some of these rumors come true and he drops just enough they could trade up to 7. He could fall to their lap at 10. Who knows? I'm not in Hallis Hall. I'm not in the war room. I don't know. But obviously they're high on him. And if they're high on him, I promise you they're talking about the defensive line, defensive tackle, defensive end positions. And with that being said, we have some work to do because right here, you can see last year we took 15 into camp. Right now we have 12 on the roster. Montez Sweat, Dio Odengbo, Austin Booker, Dominic Robinson, Daniel Hardy as defensive ends. We definitely need to add at least two more defensive ends. This is before you trim down. We're not talking about 53-man roster. We're talking about 90-man roster. Defensive tackles, we got Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter, and Drew Billings. I doubt Jervon Dexter will move over to nose tackle. That was his natural position. That's where he should have been. You saw the pictures of him trimmed down. Jervon Dexter is trim and slim. I'll bet they're doing that to get him to play better at 3-tech. They could even rotate him at defensive end. He just never had a big burst either. He's never had that elite burst off the line. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bears do with Jervon Dexter. His clear weakness from last year, he got more pressure. He got more sacks. He generated more. He was terrible at the run game. One of our biggest weaknesses last year. And he had an average depth of tackle of almost 4 yards, which is among the worst in the entire NFL. I'm not trashing on Jervon Dexter. I'm interested to see what this new regime does with Jervon Dexter to bring him to the next level, because his pressure rates, his win percentage, his sacks, everything came up on the pressure side, but his tackling, his run defense was abysmal. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. Andrew Billings, last year of his contract. This is why I think Kenny Grant is the no-brainer, hands down. Take him at 10, trade down to 13, whatever. If people really think he's going to fall that far, great. Take the whole Pittsburgh scenario where they might come up for Shedeur Sanders. Take it. Take a first next year and take Kenny Grant. If people really think he's going to fall that, I don't think he will. The Niners have clearly shown they're going after a defensive tackle. The Falcons will go after a defensive tackle. There's 3 or 4 teams within that mid-teen range that would love a solid defensive tackle. And Kenny Grant is, he's up there. He's right up there. Walter Nolan, the other one. I see these mock drafts. And today, I don't even know who it was. It was on ESPN. I'm sorry, my brain's spacing, but someone had the Bears taking Tyler Warren and then Walter Nolan. And I'm like, there's no shot in hell that we're taking Walter Nolan at 39. There's no way he makes it out of the first round. All these people mocking Kenny Grant to go out of the first. There's no way. It's not happening. It's crazy talk. I don't understand it. Swifty says he's the same weight and it was the camera angle. Big Dex is still Big Dex. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Don't know if that's true or not, but he looks slim. All I'm saying is he looks slim. I don't know his weight. It was Mel Kiper. You're right. Victor Perez, you're right. Mel Kiper had that draft for us. I'd love that draft. If that draft happened, fantastic. Great. Do it. All right, so the defensive line point is we have 12 right now on the roster, and last year we took 15, and it's one of the biggest emphasis positions that we need to focus on this offseason. We are not done here. Expect the draft to have at least 2 or 3 defensive linemen. I would expect 2 of our first 4 picks to be on the defensive line, the other one being a running back, the other one being an offensive lineman, and if we can generate another draft pick somehow, being a tight end. That's my expectation right now. And this is after going over team needs, over looking at the roster the way I do. That's why I'm walking you guys through this. This is why I do this, because right now we got 12 and it's one of our biggest needs. I would expect the Bears to be looking heavy, either this or you're going to see 2 or 3 undrafted free agents brought in. And that doesn't always mean, I mean, we get excited about that thing, but Jamari Chroma, I was very excited about Jamari Chroma. It hasn't translated to anything. Zach Pickens, even as a 3rd round pick, hasn't translated to anything. Jonathan Ford, undrafted free agent, came in a critical way when we had Andrew Billings out and we were basically playing 4 practice squad players. That's what we were doing on the interior defensive line. Outside of, big decks. Outside of big decks, we were playing practice squad guys. So Jonathan Ford, but he's not a starter. He's not even a rotational guy. He's a guy that you hope will develop. And if he turns into Andrew Billings one day, awesome. You got a good rotational guy. You still need to take a Kenny Grant or an Alfred Collins or someone of that nature in this draft that can really affect the interior of the defensive line. Stop that average depth of tackle from being a 3 or 4 yard run to being a 1 or 2 yard run. That's how you change this defensive line. So I do expect more changes on the defensive line. I expect that to be coming. So linebacker, nickelback. A lot of people ask why I lump in linebackers and nickelbacks together. I put my cornerbacks and my safeties together because those are really your defensive backs. Your nickelback is more in the box most of the time. So I've got linebackers and nickelbacks lumped into the same spot. We've got to do something with nickelbacks. Now, I'm not saying we have to as far as starters or for the 53-man roster, but we only have 2 on the roster right now. We got Kyler Gordon and Josh Blackwell, who I think will both make the 53-man roster. But as it stands right now, we took 3. We had Reddy Stewart last year. And how stupid are we for letting him go? I really liked Reddy Stewart. Really liked him a lot. So Reddy Stewart, so we'll probably add 1 more nickel. We have 9 linebackers going into camp last year. This year, we only have 6. So I do expect us to draft one, and that is a great position to pick up undrafted free agents. Who they're going after an undrafted free agent, I have no idea at this point. Nick Martin should be a 5th round option for the Bears. You guys know I love Jackson Woodard. All the UCLA guys the Bears have met with. So there's good options for the Bears. I do expect us to add a couple more as well. It's a good point on Pickens. They tried to make Pickens a nose tech, and he is really a 3 tech. He's a 3 tech, but he's not a good 3 tech. I mean, that's why you go out and sign Grady Jarrett. So TJ Sanders is a great prospect. I like TJ Sanders as well. That's also the 3 tech. How much time I really think we'll go after more of a Kenny Grant or a Alfred Collins, a nose tackle, a 1 tech, more of that than we do a 3 tech, because you've got Jervon and you've got Grady Jarrett. I don't know if we're necessarily going to go after a 3 tech, but you can always, 3 tech is the crux of a 4-3 defense. So I'm never going to say never. They absolutely could. Prometheus, what's up? Bear down. Bear down. Bear down, Bears fans. Chicago's local camp is a UDFA hotspot, 100%. Let's get to the last one here. CJ West, man, you guys are bringing up so many names that I love. All right, last spot, corners and safeties. We added Nashawn Wright today. That brings our cornerback list up to 7. Last year, we took 7 into camp. I don't know if we'll hit cornerback in undrafted free agency or in the draft. I don't at this point because really we have an okay group. And a lot of people say, well, we could draft a corner. We could take Will Johnson at number 10 overall. We could do anything. But I think with the work they're putting into Tyreek Stevenson, they've got him working with an individualized coach. I don't know if you guys had heard that news or not. One that works with a lot of prominent wide receivers and cornerbacks in the leagues. They've got him working with him. Jalen Johnson in his press conference talked about how excited he is to be able to be but paired up with number 1 wide receivers on the opposing team. We're going to play more man. And when you play man, Jalen Johnson is going to be targeting their 1 wide receiver every single time. And I love that he relishes in that he relishes in the challenge of that. And he takes that on and he wants to be freaking stallion for. I love it. Terrell Smith is a better man-to-man coverage guy than Tyreek Stevenson. I am not saying I'm done with Tyreek Stevenson. I'm over Tyreek Stevenson. Nothing like that. I like Tyreek Stevenson. He is a much harder hitter. He's much more violent. He's much more physical. He's not as good at hip to hip. I think they're going to put a lot of work into him to try to get him up to speed with Dennis Allen's defense this year, to try to get him up to speed with that. So not up, but if you've got three guys that are decent cornerbacks, I don't know if we necessarily need to go out and draft one. Maybe one of those seventh rounders, those seventh round picks, you're basically going to take guys that you've got targeted for undrafted free agency, because you're at 233 and 240. The draft is 258 long this year, I think. It's 250. It's right. It's always right around there, 256 to 260, right around that range by the time you put all the comp picks in there. So I don't know if anybody could be taken in that seventh round. Whoever they love in the undrafted free, they're going to be having all these guys that are going to be right in that range. You can see, where did I put it? Right here. You see there's three guys right there. Addison West, Bo Collins, and Dante Fleming. Those three are all right in that undrafted free agent range. They could be taking any one of these guys right there in that point. So I don't know if we're necessarily going to go cornerback. I don't know if we're going to go safety either. I like the idea of taking a safety because all four of those guys, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard, Elijah Hicks, and Jonathan Owens, they're all on the last year of their contracts. And I don't think they're going to extend any of them anytime soon. They're going to wait to see how the season plays out. So I think that's what you're going to see more of as we get into the season with these guys. So 7 cornerbacks, 5 or 8 safeties. We got 6 on roster right now. So we're going to add some. I don't know if it'll be through the draft or undrafted free agents. We already added Alex Cook, various more. We re-signed. We can re-sign Adrian Colbert and Doug Coleman. They're both still free agents. We'll just have to see how it goes. But some of these guys, we're not gonna finalize the roster until we get to the draft is over with. So let me show you guys real quick. Don't worry about the cap figures here with this. That's not the point of this. So you can see we're right around 5 million. That's with 46 now. 46 on the 53-man roster. You had 7 draft picks, and that brings you to 53. So, and that's included here. You can see the rookie year 1 cap pool. Those who haven't seen my spreadsheet here, this is something I do here on the channel where I individually track where the Bears are with the salary cap. That's not the point of this. I want to show how many we have in the roster. So here on the right-hand side, you'll see the 53-man count and the 90-man count. So as we get into camp, where we're at right now with the 90-man count, the 53-man count, those guys that and this is just according to me, who I think will make the 53-man roster. So you can see I leave room open there for a running back. I think we're going to have room for one more running back, probably one more here on the 90-man roster as well by Ian Wheeler. But the fact that they even mentioned Ian Wheeler, they're excited about the prospect that he could be. Ian Wheeler, don't overlook Ian Wheeler this year. There's some good options for the Bears this year, and Ben Johnson specifically pointed that out. Good options day 1, day 2, day 3, and he pointed out in undrafted free agency. This is a really good year. Can I put a plug in for Kylan James again? If anybody from the Bears, we know the Bears watch these things because they had Harrison Graham and they had Nick Rohde on the voices on 1920 Football Drive. How cool was that? I texted Nick right after that. I just said, dude, how cool is that? And he was actually in Europe for work and he didn't get it till later. And he's like, dude, I had no idea. I saw your text and had to hurry and go check it out and watch it. They used their voices to basically talk about the coordinators when we signed Dennis Allen and Declan Doyle. I don't remember all the names and then rehired Hightower. So anyways, so if anybody from the Bears is watching, there's a guy from UNLV, Kylan James, go check him out. Just as good as stats as Ashton Genty, just a fourth of the touches. Don't take that as the Mountain West being weak. Don't take that. Don't look at that. Just look at the stats. That's all I'm saying. Look at the tape. Look at all those broken tackles. Look at those 90-yard runs. Look at the max truck size holes they had to run through, and just give him a consideration, okay? I think the kid is going to be a good undrafted free agent. That's all I have to say about that. All right, so as you scroll through here, there's 3 more there from the running backs. Then I've got 5 wide receivers that I think are locks to make the 53-man roster, but then there's all these ones total. Get down here, 2 on the tight ends, but I think there's room for, I think we're going to draft one there. This one, I think one of these guys is going to fill one of these slots, and then we'll draft 2 more. So you just add the numbers up here, and as you scroll all the way down, as you get through the roster, right now we're sitting at 72 on the 90-man roster. Now we have 7 draft picks. So you take those 7 draft picks and add to it, we got 79. We will add 11 more people at some point or another to be able to add to this 90-man roster. We're not talking about 53. We're not talking about the final roster. I do my little speculation here, who I think is going to be there. I do my little thing and say this is who's going to make the roster. We're not talking about the 53. We're talking about the 90. So we're going to add 11 more outside of the draft. That could be undrafted free agency. It could be after the draft. That's where we're going to sit when all is said and done, is we'll have 90 guys on this roster as we go into camp for that. So excuse me, guys. I got a little. Had not heard that, Rob. Hadn't heard that one. They are taking a top 30 visit with Shadur Sanders, just so you know. All right. Wanted this thing to be under an hour. We're doing pretty good with that. I'd love to field any questions you guys have. I will have some more stuff coming out on these 3 guys. Jonas Savania, as well as Addison West. I haven't done a video on Addison West yet, another top 30 visit that we took. The Bears are keeping things so tight-lipped right now with those top 30 visits. It's crazy. So it's going to be interesting to see what happened. But I will tell you, if you want information on what the Bears are going to do at the running back position this year, my channel is probably more accurate than any other one. I'm not going to say why right now, but I will say you're probably going to see more accuracy out of me. Not who we take, but the type of player that we take. And the fact that the Bears have 4 top 30 visits. We only know of 2 of them, and then the local visits. So hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, keep informed, hit those notifications. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And just another reminder, those are the members of the channel, those who are doing the paid membership. No expectation on anybody to do that, but I just want to give a shout out. Those guys, Creighton Wilfong, Bob Billings, John Kazir, Justin Hill, Tonez, Jonathan Barkey, Sean O'Hillinger, Levante Rogers, Gavin Southgage. Maybe I typoed that one. I'll check again after this. Sorry if I did. Frams Wolfnick, Joseph Vinoski, Ken Schaefer, Free Marketeer, Mark Cooley, Spontaneous Compulsion. I know there's more, but I appreciate you guys being a part of the channel. All right. Question, Adam. Can you push the fast forward button to the... Yeah, I wish. Freaking wish. All right. Let's do this real quick. I want to do this before we end. I wanted to show you guys this. Share screen to Twitter. Gotta love Twitter. Let's go Chicago Bears. I just want to show you some of the updates from where the Bears are today. They did post a couple things from today. So here's perfect. 30 minutes ago, back in business. That's Caleb, I believe, right there. Squat rack in hand. So there's Caleb. This is all they're doing right now. So actually, it was pretty cool. I think I was going to mention this earlier, and I didn't get to it. Caleb mentioned that they were quizzing them already in the quarterback room. Like they had their individual breakdown groups. So yesterday, Ben Johnson addressed everyone. You know, there's rumors about how that went. You can listen to their interviews and talk about it. I'm hoping 1920 football drive after the draft shows that. I'm telling you, I will subscribe to 1920 football drive. I will freaking subscribe to it. But Caleb said, yeah, they were quizzing us day one. Like they were giving us scenarios and they were quizzing us day one. So I love it. I love that they're already making him think. They're already, getting down to, here's the playbook, as we go away for these stupid 2 months. I hate this 2-month gap. We'll have plenty to talk about, plenty to do, but the Bears have a 2-month, every team has a 2-month gap after we get past the draft and they do their initial visit. And then we wait till mid-July. Mid-July is when everything's good. And we're going to be every single day talking again. But so who is that? Is that someone help me out with who this one is. That looks like Jonah. That's not Jonah. Who is that? Anybody know who that one is? New mock draft videos coming out, slowing down to the draft. Yeah, I'll get another one out. I've just been really busy with the kids lately, and I'm trying not to go to bed at 3 anymore. So it's been I've had that. It's been taxing on me. No excuse to you guys. I appreciate you guys. That's Dio Dangbo. You're right, dude. Sorry, I was slacking there, guys. Slacking on that one. So there's Dio Dangbo. And then you got Jonah. That's Jonah. I like that he came with his family to that one. You can see behind there is Drew Dahlman. You can tell that's who that is. So doing the sled, doing the poles, getting a little pressure on him. So there's a couple videos there. Ka-chow. Ka-chow. So that's what they're up to right now, is strength and conditioning. It's pretty cool. Jalen Johnson. on the hurdles. Same with Cole Kmet, getting their hops on. There's the signing of Nashawn Wright that we went over, 6'4". And then if you guys want to check out the press conferences, I'm not going to do a breakdown of those like I did the other one. There's less to read out of that. This is just hoorah and excitement for the Bears. So it's always fun. But all right, let's see if I miss any questions, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Hit that like button. Appreciate you guys saying that. All right, did I miss any questions? Need to do box squats in their stance. All right. What do you think is more likely, we draft Warren or trade back? All the things that Ryan Poles has indicated, that's not just to us as a fan base. That's also to other teams. When they're saying that, you're laying a foundation for other teams to hear those things. I think the Bears truly want to trade back unless one of these guys, like on that screen, Mason Graham, unless Mason Graham fell to 10, I think they really want to trade back. I don't think they see Kenneth Grant like I do as a true must take at 10, but a possibility to take. And I think they would take the trade back. What's more likely? Man, Ben Johnson likes Tyler Warren. I don't think he's just fluffing when he says that. He's a new head coach. He's excited about things. I think he was given a genuine take there. I think he likes Tyler Warren. I want to say both. I would really love a trade back to 13 right before the Colts, so the Colts can't take Tyler Warren. Trade back with the Dolphins. That's my ideal take. I really want us to trade back with the Dolphins. Pick up 2 mid-round picks. That way the Dolphins don't have to give up an early pick. Give up their comp third and comp fourth. And that is good value there for a trade down from 10 to 13. I would like that the most. What's most likely, though, is that the Bears probably take a pick right there at 10 with the guy that they like. All right. A couple more here if I missed any. TJ. Looks like TJ. So I probably got someone wrong there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I think your most likely trade partners are going to be Miami at 13, Seattle at 10 or 18. The reason why Miami offensive line, Seattle offensive line, they need whoever the offensive line is so sparse in this class. People might be willing to go higher to get the only couple good ones there are. Armand Membu, Josh Simmons, even Will Campbell, even Kelvin Banks. Those 4 might be worth trading up to these teams. They might have them fall into their lap, but think about in their perspective, if San Francisco wants to take an offensive lineman, which they need to do, if Miami, that would make a team like Seattle say, we got to trade up to get the guy that we want. We're willing to give up our second rounder to get a good one instead of just a serviceable one. We need a true starter this year. If Armand Membu's there at 10, if Will Campbell's there at 10, we got to trade up and get our guy. So, yeah, that's kind of how I peg it too, because I know a lot of people don't know the whole ins and outs of every team, but Miami's Terran Armstead retired. They drafted Patrick Paul, who I really liked last season. They drafted him last year. He switched between right tackle and left tackle a lot. But now that's all they've got. They've only got Patrick Paul. So they really need to add another starting left tackle or right tackle. They're versatile there. It would be more ideal to have right tackle. So Armand Membu would be, they might even trade ahead of us to get Armand Membu. They might trade all the way up to 7 or 8 if the Jets or the Panthers are willing to trade down. Odds on trading up, I would say, are low. Really, really low. I think the Bears, all the talk that Ryan Poles has given, and then the hints that he's given to other teams that he's willing to trade back, and him talking about the second round being where value is, trading up would likely cost a second rounder from 10 into the top 10, 10 into 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. 9 won't cost as much if we trade one spot. That would probably cost our third rounder. 8, 7, you're going to get into second round range, maybe a pick swap for one of those. So getting into that range, you're giving up that second rounder. And I don't think Ryan Poles wants to do that. I think he really sees the value in those second rounders this year. So I would say the odds of trading up are 0 to 5%. I mean, are really, really low is my take on that. So, all right, there's power in having options at 10. Absolutely. That's the beauty of the draft. Who the F knows? I agree. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We went over a lot really quickly. I'll be with Carl on Thursday. I'm going to try to get a video out tomorrow with one of the things I've been working on. Would you rather get a future first or current second in the 40s? a future first. I'd always rather have a future first, man. But there's so many things we would need to round this roster out. It would depend on where that future second would land. I would take Seattle's future second or current second. Pittsburgh's first next year, is going to be a late first rounder. They always make the playoffs somehow. Mason Graham is definitely worth it. I do believe he is. Nick, you're going to have to check out. We're wrapping up here, buddy. You're going to have to check it out. So, Landon Jackson's your defensive end. Hey, Knowledge, we got to have you on, man, before the draft. You and I have talked a lot on Twitter chat, but we need to have you on to come onto the channel. So we'll arrange that. But have you tried advanced features on stick to the model yet? Oh, yeah, you're the one who recommended. I like stick to the model. There's a couple things I tweak. Maybe I'll message you. Let's see here. Having another first rounder next year would be good if you wanted. I mean, that first rounder you could always trade out to next year, and you can build multiple. Next year's draft is not a scrub draft, guys. Next year's draft is actually a solid draft. So it's a good draft. I mean, with all the teams that are going to be taking quarterbacks, it's going to leave these other positions. You're going to have so many options in that first round next year. I would absolutely take a first rounder next year. Absolutely love it. So, all right. Appreciate you that. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you being a part of the channel. So with that, we're going to wrap this thing up. Appreciate every part of the support you guys give this channel. Hit that like button if you don't mind. Subscribe, share it with your friends. The channel is growing. Slowed down a little bit until we get to the draft. We're going to have a lot of fun things around the draft, though. So appreciate you guys. Till next time, the Bears.